in OFS. Is fundamentally something changing in the sector? Because there were price cuts which was taken negatively earlier, but do you think that is a trend which has reversed now and better demand is something that the street is expecting?
So I think the stocks are buzzing largely because of expectation of acquisition. There has been recently some acquisitions which have been announced. Ambuja Cement has taken over Penna Cement, and there's a little bit of stress in the southern Indian cement players. So people are expecting that maybe further consolidation might happen, and that is the reason why you're seeing India Cement also go up. So cement prices remain very weak, and the demand is average. So I don't think that is the driver. It's just the acquisition buzz which is actually pushing stocks up.
Rakesh, good afternoon. Thank you for joining in. You mentioned that there is some stress in the southern part of the country. You also mentioned that pricing is under pressure. Now, considering we are heading into the peak monsoon season, one can assume that the demand lull may persist till the season is over. So, do you foresee some more pricing pressure going forward? Because channel checks are suggesting that prices have fallen by almost 5 to 7 rupees a bag already.
So I think, monsoon is to, spread out in the country, and cement companies will make an effort to increase prices before that. So you will see some announcements coming through. There was an announcement a few days back also, though prices are not sticking. Maybe there might be a few more attempts to increase the price before monsoon really sets in. But I don't really expect that, prices will stick, because the top two players are in a little bit of a fight over market share, and till the time they settle there, with each other, I don't think cement prices are going up in a hurry.
And what about demand? Is there any expectation for FY25 numbers in terms of the volume growth that the industry could see, and who could be an outperformer here? Of course, barring first half where we have seen elections, then monsoons.
So demand has held up reasonably well even during elections, apart from April, which was a little bit of a washout month. May we saw industry grow at around 10%, and June also is turning out to be reasonably okay at around 4-5%. So for the first quarter, I'm expecting around 6% demand growth. And for the year, probably things might pick up later on. So probably we should end up at around 7 to 8% demand growth for the FY25. Which is in line with, I think, what most people are expecting. So demand, there's no major surprise. But as I said, the pricing is weak, and that is where, the re-rating for companies from the current level looks difficult. And we are looking at Q1 and Q2 to be reasonably weak in terms of profitability. So that is not the factor which is going to drive the stocks. And probably we should see that after 8 to 10% move that we're seeing in the stock prices, maybe some consolidation might happen.
So what are you expecting for this quarter in particular, Rakesh, the April to June period, because earnings starts next month, almost next week now. What are you expecting in terms of commentary to come in from these cement companies on the road ahead, possibly further consolidation coming in from the big players? What is your thoughts on that?
So I think commentary would be reasonably okay, because, as I said, demand growth is expecting around 7-8%. So cement companies are going to highlight that. But when it comes to margin, there should be an contraction of between 100 to 200 rupees per ton QOQ in terms of EBITDA per ton that they will report. And in terms of consolidation, I don't think anybody is going to say explicitly. But we know that Ambuja has a war chest of 20,000 crore. So, and they've recently announced Penna. So probably they might look for, 1 or 2 more acquisition later on. And I don't think UltraTech will be left behind. So whenever there's an opportunity, maybe they will also look if there's a good fit. So we might get some more news flow on consolidation later this year. But, will it happen the way stocks are buzzing? I'm not sure.
Okay, so, that is something which is happening in the cement sector so often now, the consolidation, these small players getting bought in by the bigger ones. Last question before we let you go, I wanted to understand what are your top picks or maybe the top sells in the sector, considering the current environment valuation picture as well.
So I've been mentioning that, the top 2 players are the one where, they have the best margin and they are growing the fastest. So investors are better off sticking up with, industry leaders. If you're trying to play the acquisition theme, then there are smaller companies are there, but just be sure that you're not buying them at an overboard valuation. I don't think acquisitions will happen at more than around $85 per ton level for most of the companies, and then you can do plus minus $10 for the quality of the company. So one needs to be really sure that they're not going overboard and buying smaller companies at high valuation. There's a good chance that you can get stuck. So stick to industry leaders is what I would say, and be very opportunistic with these acquisition theme.
Rakesh, since you are here, can't not ask you a question on metals. I'll slip in a question on Vedanta. There's the large deal that took place in the stock today. Promoters have said that they have sold some more stake. Does this promoter selling stake become an overhang on the stock? Because last week we just had the group chairman saying that there was no such plan. Now we've already seen a stake sale that has taken place just within a week. What's your call on Vedanta going forward? Because there is a demerger that is taking place as well. What's your view there?
So I think the stock has already run up quite a bit, and the promoters are a smart set of people who understand commodities for ages now. If they are selling, I think investors should get a clue out of what's happening. Number two, the pricing for base metals has already gone up decently, both aluminium, which is one of the main thing, and zinc. And but we are seeing that consumption is slowing down in China, and inventory levels are starting to rise for aluminum in China. So I would think that maybe this rally has already come to a little bit of a I would say peak level, and it has to consolidate before it can move up. So I think for the time being, this up move is kind of done.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much for joining us, Rakesh, today and giving us your perspective on the cement space and Vedanta stock as well. We'll slip into